Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LALATE, the bottom of the hour, the 6:30 edition. I'm so glad you joined me, and I don't have a stimulus check for you. Nor does Mitch, nor does Nancy, nor does Chuck, nor does Steady, nor does anyone in Congress that had no less than 5 to 6 different proposals for CRs, not CRs, sort of CRs, CRVs, SRVs, Hondas, pilots, and no one seemed to think to put a stimulus check in anything. One viewer yesterday said to me, just wait till January, you're taking care of January. My concern is I have every single group of legislators now doing drafts of memos, of pamphlets, of drafts, and no one's putting a stimulus check anywhere. This has to stop. This has to stop, and this is where Purple Power needs to step up. It's stimulus check for or shutdown. It's hashtag stimulus check or shutdown. They need to understand to shut up or shut down, because people can't keep on doing this and not giving you a stimulus check. Nancy Pelosi is very happy to have you evicted during the pandemic because she's not giving you an eviction protection. She's very happy for her house to be foreclosed upon on January 1st because she's not giving you an eviction foreclosure protection. And Mitch McConnell's very happy to have you have your lunches deducted for business purposes, that he's not giving you a stimulus check. The good news is that when you look at the mess from yesterday, there's really Mitch McConnell and just 3 things you need to fix. And we're done. We got it. Get Mitch to add a stimulus check, eviction protection, and mortgage forbearance. And the president will sign it because the president's already done an eviction moratorium executive order, which is set to expire, and one for foreclosures, and said he would give his stimulus check. So we know the president's going to sign what we want from Mitch. We just got to get Mitch to do it. And Purple Power, do your thing. It's a good morning. I'm so glad you joined me. And this is a big recording of Early Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's the 6:30 edition here on Early Mornings LA. I'm so glad you joined me, and where we're really focused on getting Mitch to the finish line with us, because he has the bill, or the draft, or the memo of the bill, and that just needs to add 3 things: stimulus checks, eviction protection, and mortgage forbearance. And we're done. This is the continuing resolution, the CR, the budget bill that needs to be done by December 11th. It's not reduced to a bill yet. It's only a memo. Mitch has floated around. He's waiting for the president to get back to him on items. And ultimately, there's only 3 items to add, and we're done. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Steny Hoyer, Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, all you people blowing air about stuff that no one really wants, and drafts of memos of drafts that no one really wants. The totality of all that from yesterday can be summed up as the following. They just don't really like Mitch. They're trying to do everything they can to sort of not like Mitch. And I got it, but this is the simplest thing to get us to January, and then in January we do everything else. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do, because I'm making things very simple in even the most complicated of days. Yesterday took the cake as complicated, but more importantly, I'm getting viewers money right now, because while we sit back and listen to this horrible soap opera, I'm getting viewers thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, 20,000, money for rent, utilities, and food. And I have 9 volunteers that are absolutely incredible jobs on this channel, ensuring that you get this money right now. And when you go to a city or county or state housing authority, as I tell you in these recordings, to get the rent, you may find difficulty or confusion. The volunteers have additional tricks of the trade on where those rent grants are. So please subscribe. Also like this video. In this video, I'll be going over what happened yesterday, a little bit more, what will be happening likely today, my predictions, and then I'll go to escalated benefits and EIDL, because that has been really another one of the big hits of the money you can get right now, but won't be around forever. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that I forgot to mention that it's a live instant premiere. It's an instant premiere over there. So I messed up. There's an instant premiere over there, and so those people are chatting. They're like, he messed up again. Did you see it? He messed up again. So you forgot to mention we're chatting. Yeah, they're chatting. I forgot to mention they're chatting. So you're chatting. It's an instant premiere, always featured at 6:30. If you're tuning in, it's 6:30 at the bottom of the hour. And it's also featured at 6 a.m. You can chat with your familiar faces that you see every morning, and you can ask people for assistance and also comment about how often I mess up. Now let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that there's a lot of mess still left over from yesterday, but ultimately Mitch McConnell is the ingredient to get to the finish line because he is not talking in a vacuum this time. He went to the White House. He spoke to the president, who has to sign the bill. You can't go around the president on this one. The president has to sign the bill or it's vetoed and it's dead on arrival. And Mitch asked for the president for insight on what he wants. We don't know that insight yet, but we do know in the past what the president said he would give you. We also know what the president has given you. The president signed an eviction moratorium executive order during the fall from his golf course, and that was a very well-received eviction protection for rent. That expires in December 2nd. He did one for mortgage forbearance. That expires in December as well. So why would he not sign a bill that has an eviction protection and mortgage forbearance so that you're not evicted or lose your home on December 31st? Of course he would. Would he give you a stimulus check? He said about every single month since June he would give you a stimulus check. So he certainly signed that as well. So we really only have one thing to get done. Tag McConnell's press secretary, tag his communications director and say, hey, stimulus check, eviction protection, and mortgage forbearance. Put it in the CR, the continuing resolution, the budget bill, the CR, and we're done. We don't really have to focus on what Mitt is talking about. Mitt does a bill every single 10 seconds, and no one ever sees his bills come to life. And Nancy Pelosi wants to support something to say, I'm showing you how we're ganging up on Mitch. Yeah, okay, whatever, Nancy. 24 hours earlier, she was calling Steve Mnuchin groveling, hoping to settle the CR without using Mitch. And Steve said, no, you got to go to Mitch. So the important thing to understand as you sit here today is that I think that Mitch has all the cards in hand. And I don't think it's out of character for Mitch or the president to shut down the government if they don't play nice. And that brings us back to hashtag stimulus check or shut down. Give us a stimulus check or shut down the government. With that, let me really focus you on what I think is going to happen. I think that it could end up in a shutdown. I asked the viewers of this channel, who are very smart, 48 hours ago, do you think a shutdown is going to happen? 100% said yes. Then on Purple Power Law, then on yesterday on Holidays LALATE in the middle of the day, I asked the question again, and it was 90% yes, 10% no. So I do believe that a shutdown is going to happen. Ultimately, they need to get the message that the shutdown is because they didn't give us a stimulus check. You don't want them to shut it down because they're talking about lobsters that weren't included, and they're talking about cows that didn't get the stimulus, or airlines or someone else. You want them to feel guilty that they didn't give you a stimulus check so that they do give you a stimulus check. You want to make it very clear, give us a stimulus check or we're going to urge all the other senators to vote against the bill and shut it down. And there we go. Now let's turn to money for you. Escalated Benefits, CARES Act 1 money, and EIDL. I want you to get this money because it's important to understand that as you sit here now on December 3rd, this money should have been in your hands a week ago. I have been doing these videos for now about 12 days and have gotten about $300,000 from viewers. And initially there was some people that didn't understand what was going on. And then there were some people that didn't understand where to look. Now I've sort of gotten through all that. And so the only thing that remains is really people who are looking in the right place, but not finding it there. I did have one viewer yesterday send me a DM that said, I called the governor and they said they don't know what you're talking about. Why are you calling the governor? Governors don't know anything. The governor's office doesn't keep track of this stuff. So it's important to understand that most viewers know where to look. Your city hall, your county hall, and your state housing authority What I want you to understand is that sometimes rent grants are not in the state housing authority. They're in another part of the state housing department or another part of the city's housing development divisions. Cities and states have a lot of housing departments, and sometimes it's not where you think it is or not where I think it is. So you need to look a little bit out of the box. A viewer got a rent grant out of New York City in the last 48 hours because they worked outside the box. They understood that the city's rent grant program was gone since July, but understand another department in New York had the rent grants in a different capacity and got it. Massachusetts, same example. A viewer understood that Massachusetts in general did not have rent grants across the board, but he pushed and Tyrone got a $14,000 grant. Now, let me go to finally, if you have questions about where to find these grants, if you're still doing it and you can't find it, go to youtube.com/LLA/community. And on that community, you can find a volunteer who will help find the grants for you across the country. If you're a person, because I'm starting to get a couple of these messages, does not have access to computer, but does have Facebook on the app, you can communicate with a volunteer on Instagram via Facebook. Facebook works with Instagram. Look in the settings and you can send messages to someone on Instagram via Facebook. I do it all day long. Now let's turn to escalated benefits. Escalated benefits is so easy and so wonderful. And ultimately, these people are not putting FPUC in this temporary bill. They really shouldn't, because FPUC can be messed up really badly. That Mitt Romney bill does have FPUC in it, but it's FPUC not retroactive. So it start today and go forward $300 a week. Wait a second. What about FPUC since July? We haven't gotten an FPUC July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 7 months we haven't gotten an FPUC. We're just going to forget FPUC for a half a year? Well, the good news is you and I are not going to forget escalated benefits for a half year. Escalated benefits is incredibly important if you have been on unemployment for a lot of weeks. And I don't care if you are employed now. Unemployment escalated benefits applies to the period in which you were unemployed. So if you were unemployed for 20, 30 weeks or still are, this is a lot of money because it applies to your entire time frame of unemployment. And it raises it a significant amount. If you made over $30,000, it's going to raise you $300 a week. 30 weeks, $9,000, bam, right in your account. $25,000 more 2019 earnings, it'll raise you about $100 a week. Bam, right in your account. About $3,000 if you've been unemployed for 30 weeks. Then finally, if you've been unemployed for 30 weeks and made over $18,000 2019, it'll raise you about $50 a week, about $1,500. Bam, right in your account. It's so simple. Send a letter to your state unemployment department saying, here's my 2019 tax return, which you got digitally put into your phone by taking a picture, or you scanned it, and say, here's my 2019 tax return. See if I qualify for additional weekly benefits. Thank you, and God bless. The words are very simple. Additional weekly benefits. Additional weekly benefits. Done. Call them the day after, the day after, and the day after that, and they will pay retroactively based upon your 2019 earnings. It's done. It's the simplest thing in the world to do. Now, EIDL is also really simple, and I want you to get an EIDL if you qualify. If you're Goober or a Grubhub or Airbnb operator, go get it. Independent contractor, go get it. Taxi cab driver, bus driver, go get it. If you do a Schedule C in your 2019 tax return. For those type of people, which I just described, the application, when you go to EIDL at sba.gov, economic injury disaster, you're going to choose independent contractor, solo. The business name will be your name. The business account, the account number will be your personal account number. The number will be your personal social security number. And the amount of money, the gross revenue, will be line 1, your Schedule C. Cost of goods sold, line 2 in your Schedule C. Done. You'll get approved within about 3 business days if you ensure that your Experian Vantage score is 570 or higher. 750 or higher. You want to go to Experian and check your Experian Vantage 3.0 score is 750 or higher. What's important to understand is that, am I saying 750? 570. 570 or higher. What's important to understand is that the score needs to be at that level, but if it's not, you can do the Experian boost. It'll raise your 25 points for free. And then you can also call up Experian and remove adverse entries. Finally, when you apply and you get an offer and you accept the offer and it shows processing for more than a day, call up tier 2 and say, hey, I'm still processing. What's going on? Call up and keep on calling up until you're approved. Make sure you do all those very simple steps. Don't mess up numbers. Don't type the social security number wrong or the bank account number wrong or the routing number wrong. Go slowly when you type numbers, because if you make a mistake on numbers, you'll be doing this for 5 months, no joke. But if you do the numbers correctly, you'll be doing this for 5 hours and you'll be approved within about a day or two. Very easy. Stay with me later today at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for Morning to LA, the big kahuna. I'll have big developments across the board with all these developments about stimulus. And I expect everything to change by the minute. There's going to be a lot of changes, and what you saw yesterday was literally the goalpost moving every 2 hours. So stay with me throughout the day. I have a lot of developments, and that's why I have a lot of recordings. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay at LA for more.